218k, almost 4,000 meters of elevation. Elapsed time 11 hours and 10 minutes, and the battery 75%. That is pretty nuts.
So since I use maybe about 10% of all the functionality you get in a modern bike computer these days, I wasn't really planning on making a video about the Garmin Edge 530 that I picked up a few weeks ago. So if you clicked on this video expecting a full walkthrough review or something like that, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I will refer you to my man GP Llama and maybe the rain bringer himself, DC Rainmaker, if you want to know all the nitty-gritty. I will just focus on really one portion of this unit, and that's the battery life. That's one area I haven't seen many videos or other kind of coverage about. They basically report 20 hours of battery life and that's it. No real world testing, so to speak. So I've been on the Garmin Edge 520 basically since it was released, I don't know how many years now, and the battery has really started to degrade, especially the last 2 years or so, I think, and I couldn't really rely on it for a full day of riding. If I had an active route loaded, I could maybe get out 160k or something like that before I started to get low battery warnings and I had to top it up during the ride. So I've been looking at an alternative computer for probably about 1.5 years. I was almost ready to pull the trigger on the Wahoo Bolt, but I was kind of curious to see what their next computer would be, and the new Roam didn't really impress me that much, to be honest. I also actually looked at the Lesign computer just because of that amazing battery life, but I couldn't really bring myself to like the design of that unit. It's a bit too plasticky for my taste. But then Garmin announced the 530 and 830, but yeah, the touchscreen was never really my thing. The one improvement that really caught my eye was the battery improvement, and that pretty much sold me on the computers. So I picked that up a few weeks back, just in time when Japan is raising their sales tax in October, so I wanted to get it in before and save a little tiny amount of yens because I'm cheap. Usually I will probably wait a bit longer to pick up a newly announced Garmin unit because of that infamous Garmin beta period. That's always a bit sketchy, but I rather save that 2%, getting it now instead of in October. It was also good timing as I'm getting to do a bit longer rides again now that the summer heat is kind of not over, but at least it's possible to ride a bit longer. So just as I got the unit, I was about to go on, for me, a pretty long ride. It would be a minimum of around 200k and at least 3,800 meters of climbing. And I had an option, if I felt good, to continue on and kind of try to break my personal distance and climbing record. And I thought that would be a pretty nice opportunity to try the new battery life on this unit. So as you saw at the beginning of the video, I came to around 220k's and 3,900 meters of climbing. I think I was around 11 hours of elapsed time, and I still had 75% battery life left in this unit. So that wasn't much of a battery test. Since I didn't feel too bad, I decided to go and complete the long loop. It would have ended up being over 300k's, but this happened. Slight problem. Sorry about the echo. We have massive rain, and I'm still not at the top of the big climb. I didn't have any rain gear, and if I would have continued on, I wouldn't have had any bail points. It would be in the dark and questionable reception, so yeah, I was using my brain for once. Descended back down in the rain to the train station and took the train home, and that ride ended up being 249k's, 4,800 meters of climbing, and about 11 hours and 22 minutes or something like that. And I still had 71% battery left. So I should point out I wasn't running in the low battery mode or anything like that. I set the backlight to 10% and I had that 15-second auto off on. My GPS recording was set to 1-second recording and I'm only using GPS only. Since I don't like to be distracted by the computer really, I don't have any sounds or any warnings on, and I don't have my phone connected either. Normally I just use the GPS and no sensors at all, but I know I'm pretty much in the minority there, so this test wouldn't really be very useful to anyone but me. So I actually dug up an old speed and cadence sensor and put that on just to have some kind of extra data, nipping on that battery a bit. So I did this ride with the route loaded and I had the map screen on probably about half of the ride. And like I said before, on the 520, when I have a route loaded, this is when the battery would die so extremely quick. So I was extremely happy to see that it didn't really seem to affect the battery life that much at all. But this ride and the battery result from it actually got me really curious, how much could I get in on one full charge? So I went out on another 54k ride a few days after, and I also did a commute to work. That's 54k's out and 54k's home, so that's over 100k for the day. So this weekend I thought, could I really get in another big ride on the same charge? So I went out on a more flattish kind of ride, but I still ended up getting 211 Ks. Came home, checked the battery again, and 26% left. So just to clarify, I've done 5 rides, total distance of 623 kilometers, total elapsed time around 25 hours, and I still have 26% left. That is pretty insane and better than advertised. Like I said, I only run one sensor, backlight, 10%, etc, etc. So depending on how you configure your setup, it might be shorter. So even if the battery degrades 50%, it should keep me going until it's time to upgrade again. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm still using the stem mount, because the out front mount you get with the computer, check this out. That is not going on my bike. But now that I committed to Garmin, I will look for an out front mount, but a weight-weenie one for sure. So let me know if you have any tips. I'm looking at racewear and some other stuff, but we'll see what I can find. Hard to beat that stem mount though. If you're running a full-on sensor, heart rate, power and everything, be sure to let me know what kind of battery life you get down in the comments. I think it would be interesting for other people to know as well. That's it for now, I think. If you found it interesting or helpful, feel free to leave a like. It's always appreciated. And subscribe for more shenanigans like this. If you do, I will catch you in the next one. Peace.